welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and coming up on today's program, looking at the biggest winners and losers at the end of Texans Minicamp. And now, just a reminder at the beginning of the show, before you say, why are you calling our players losers? I'm not saying anybody on the team's a loser. I'm not saying anybody's won anything. I'm just saying whose, value, whose stock is kind of looking like it's going up at the end of minicamp, and whose stock maybe falling a little bit. I'm not saying any of these guys are going to for sure make the team or not make the team. I'm just saying these guys maybe, help their stock a little bit in minicamp, or maybe got their stock hurt just a tad. Before we get going, I want to thank everybody who's shown me love on Twitter so far this week throughout minicamp. The offseason, the dog days, have a lot of fun discourse over there on X. So I want to give a shout out to the 5 people who shared today's video. All you got to do is click the share button, select the Twitter icon or the X icon, post to Twitter, and tag me at Jeremy Chuggs. That's all you got to do. The first 5 people to do that on today's show, I'm going to give you a shout out on one of my episodes next week. Once again, thank you to everybody who's hit that sub button, everybody who shares my videos already. I know a couple of you do already, so I want to give you some love on my next video. Now, the Texans minicamp winners. First up, Kamari Lassiter, and he's been the biggest name throughout all of Texans OTAs and minicamp throughout this offseason, and for good reason. He was the first selection by the Texans in the 2024 NFL Draft, so a lot of eyes are on him. Plus, there is a need at corner opposite of Derek Stingley, so Kamari Lassiter has had a lot of people looking his way, but he's also had the most hype coming out of minicamp. A lot of if you look on Twitter and just type in Kamari Lassiter, a ton of really good highlights from guys covering minicamp down there. A lot of really good reps by Lassiter throughout this minicamp, throughout this offseason for the Texans so far. And it looks like the Texans might have gotten a steal there in the second round. Now, my revised Texans cornerback depth chart looks like this. I believe Lassiter is going to be that outside guy starting opposite of Derek Stingley, and Desmond King now is going to kind of fit into that nickel position. I'm really pleased with how well Lassiter has looked so far. He has absolutely, cemented himself as a guy that could help this Texans squad going into 2024. I think what he's proven to the coaching staff and, not only the coaching staff, his fellow teammates. A lot of guys are ranting and raving about Lassiter. They call him the locksmith for a reason, and that's exactly what he's doing so far. He's locking people down. So, if you're hyped to see Kamari Lassiter, if you're excited that he is showing out so far, I know some people make fun of me for saying drop it in the comments, but hey, I don't give a damn about those guys. Go drop a lock in the comments section for Kamari Lassiter, locking it down at Texans minicamp. He's looked great, not only on, second team guys, against Stephon Diggs, against Dalton Schultz. He has looked fantastic. So go drop a lock down in the comment section. I know a couple of these guys watch our videos, so if Kamari Lassiter does come across this video, I want him to see nothing but locks down in the comment section. Next up on my minicamp winners, Kenyon Green, the left guard. Now, what a transformation this young man has had. A lot of people had written him off already. A lot of people were saying they should trade him. Me included. I was like, does he get cut this offseason? Does he get traded? Where does he fit in? And this was the old Kenyon Green, the one we all remember who really did not look good his rookie season. But what a transformation. This is the new Kenyon Green, and you can tell he looks different. He looks more in shape. He looks like he's in better physical condition to play in the NFL. A lot of people say he lost his baby weight or, his draft weight or what have you. But he's just really taken this year, the year that, he was put on IR to start last season for that shoulder injury. He looks a lot better. And now I believe he's going to slot in to be your starting left guard for this season. Right now, this Texans offensive line looks pretty good, and especially if Kenyon Green can step up and give you some meaningful play at that left guard spot, I think this Texans offensive line is looking a lot better than a lot of people thought going into 2024. My guy VT, a.k.a. Brown Chubby Bear on Twitter, he agrees with me, and I agree with this sentiment. I had given up on Kenyon Green before, but looks like he's in the best shape of his life right now. Maybe he has a shot of removing that bust label that a lot of Texans fans had on him. I agree with you, VT, over there at the Texans 22 podcast. Did some great work. Go check him out on X as well. VT, does some good stuff. But yeah, Kenyon Green proving a lot of the haters wrong right now. Now, next up on my Texans minicamp winners, Azeez Al-Shaiar, one of the bigger, free agency additions by the Texans this offseason. And he has really, shown up and played very well and been a leader for this Texans team. A lot of people were saying, pairing him back up with DeMeco Ryans. They were together in San Francisco. This could be a match made in heaven, and so far it looks that way. And this offseason, the Texans, they put a lot of stock in Azeez Al-Shaiar. I know it wasn't as splashy as a move as Danielle Hunter, but still, for his position, for inside linebackers, he's the 5th highest paid guy in the NFL right now for inside linebackers. And Azeez, he has proven to his teammates, to the coaching staff, that he is a leader on the team. He might get one of the captain spots on this team before it's all said and done. Will Anderson said during practice, during, minicamp, there was a couple times where Azeez was pretty vocal with him saying, hey, don't pout about a bad play. We're on to the next play. We're on to the next one. Get better every single rep and put your head down and let's get to work. And Will Anderson absolutely loved that mentality. So do I. I think Azeez Al-Shaiar is a perfect fit with DeMeco Ryans, kind of a coach on the field and an extension of DeMeco Ryans, and can really help this Texans defense take it to the next level this next season. And speaking of leaders on the team, I want to know from you, who do you think the leaders are on the team? Who do you think are the guys who deserve to be a captain going into next year? I mean, the obvious answers are C.J. Stroud. Azeez Al-Shaiar may be a sneaky one. Let me know, who are some guys that you think are going to be leaders for this Texans team down in the comment section. I'm really interested on what you guys have to say. And, one of the leaders in daily fantasy sports, actually the leader in daily fantasy sports, that is Prize Picks. And they have a great deal for you right now. When you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that code CLNS, you get a $100 deposit match. And Prize Picks, it's the number one daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Get in on the action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. The finals, they mean just a little bit more on Prize Picks, and so do star players. You get boosted payouts on select basketball stars that you won't find anywhere else. This is my lineup for the finals. Game 1 tonight. Mavs, Celtics. I'm rolling with the Mavs. I know Houston, Dallas, we have that rivalry, but I'd rather have the Texas. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd rather have the Texas team win. I'd rather have the Mavs win than the Celtics. So this is my Prize Picks that I'm rolling with. Luka, he's been an automatic 30-burger this entire postseason. So 30.5 points. Give me the more on that. Daniel Gafford has been one of the surprises of the postseason for the Mavs. Has really the name of the game with Daniel Gafford, he is a hustle guy. So 6 rebounds. Yeah, give me the more on that. And I was telling you about those star players, those extra payouts. Kyrie Irving has the star around him for his assists, 4.5 assists. Give me the more as well on that. You can use my picks. Hell, you could fade my picks. Just do it over at Prize Picks. And when the finals are over, the hoops action doesn't stop right there. Women's basketball is just getting started with young stars like Caitlin Clark and the girl who she's been beefing with, Angel Reese, looking to make name for themselves alongside some other greats in Breanna Stewart and Asia Wilson. You can win up to 100 times your cash watching the women ball out after the finals. Don't forget, download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Once again, that is code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's really that easy. Now, my next minicamp winner, it's going to be John Mechie. I talked about him on the program yesterday. Washed my sins. I ate some humble pie. I said I was wrong on John Mechie, and he's proven a lot of people wrong throughout his tenure here at the Texans. A lot of people had doubted him. A lot of people didn't know if he'd ever make his way back onto the football field, but this offseason, he has looked fantastic. And a lot of people saying at Texans Minicamp, this dude right here, he has looked really, really good, looked really fast. C.J. Stroud the other day talked about how in minicamp, in training camp, his routes may look the best out of any of the receivers in that receiving room. That's including Tank Dell, who's looked fantastic, Stephon Diggs, who is widely known as one of the best route runners in the entire NFL. And for C.J. Stroud to give that praise to Mechie and really, give his seal of approval, I think Mechie is going to do some things this year. Maybe not be involved as some people would like, but maybe this is a reason why the Texans only took a one-year flyer on Stephon Diggs rather than having control over his contract for 2-3 seasons. Now, my last minicamp winner going to be Dameon Pierce. Whenever the Texans added Joe Mixon, I really didn't see how Pierce kind of fit into the equation. Joe Mixon has been a bell cow his entire career in the NFL. I mean, even in Oklahoma, he was a bell cow. Shout out to the Sooners out there, I guess. But producer Sam Brown, a Sooners alum, giving me the horns down behind the camera. But Dameon Pierce, either way, has really, accepted the challenge, has really come into camp and really worked his tail off. And it's not gone unnoticed. Joe Mixon has really said Dameon Pierce has pushed him a lot in minicamp and OTAs. And DeMeco Ryans had this to say about the Texans running back. I see Dameon having a clear headspace as we are out working, and I think that will allow him to have a really productive year this year. He has everything it takes to be a really good running back for us, and I think him and Joe Mixon as a 1-2 punch would be very beneficial to us. And I think Dameon Pierce has really gone out there and accepted the challenge and said, hey, I want to be a part of this Texans offense. I want to be a part of that 1-2 punch. Even if I'm not the starting guy, I want to contribute every single way I can. So I think that mentality, the way Dameon Pierce has kind of held himself up, has carried himself through this adversity, has really made him a winner in my eyes for Texans minicamp. Now, I don't know how many carries he gets compared to a guy like Joe Mixon, but if we can get Dameon Pierce back on track, if we can get the way Dameon Pierce looked in 2022, that would be amazing for the Texans offense. Just another, facet, another guy that Bobby Slowick and company can throw out there against opposing defenses. Now, coming up, I have my Texans minicamp losers, and one more time before I get into the losers, these guys, I'm not saying they're losers. I'm just saying maybe the situation there and maybe other stuff around them has really impacted their future with the Texans and the way that they're going to help with this roster. Before I get into that, make sure you're subscribed for the latest Texans news and rumors all offseason long. It's 100% free. Once again, I thank everybody who's already hit that sub button and joined me along for the ride. I'm just a kid from Houston, from South Houston, who wanted to help start this Texans channel here at Chat Sports, and the amount of support I've had has been unwavering, and I thank each and every one of you who's really helped me along this journey. It hasn't stopped here. We're the fastest growing Texans channel on YouTube for a reason, and sky's the limit for this channel. There's a lot of other team channels here at Chat Sports, but I want to make the Texans channel one of the best here, and the only way I can do that is with great viewers like you. So go down and hit that sub button if you haven't already for free daily content around the Houston Texans. Now, one of my Texans minicamp losers is going to be Xavien Hutchinson. And obviously, we were talking about a lot of winners. We're talking about, the wide receiver room. There's a lot of, moving parts with that. And I think Xavien Hutchinson might be lost in the shuffle. And it really sucks because I think he could be a really good receiver. He's been working a lot this offseason. I think he has a lot of promise. I think he might end up being on the practice squad, but in the right situation with the right team, I think Xavien Hutchinson can really make a difference. We look at this Texans wide receiver depth chart, and I don't know how many guys they keep. Obviously, they have the top three guys in Diggs, Collins, and Dell. You have Mechie, who I just mentioned. I think Noah Brown is somebody that this team views very highly of. And then after that, it's really him battling with Steven Sims, Ben Skoranek, Robert Woods for that wide receiver 6 spot. I think he still has a chance to make the final roster, but he's going to have to really improve how he can help this team on special teams if he wants a place on the final 53-man. And similar with this, I don't think this dude's a loser at all. I actually think Jarrett Patterson, for a lot of NFL teams, could start at the center position. I think he's that good. But the fact that him and Juice Scruggs are right there neck and neck, and he might lose out to Scruggs and be the backup center, that's what I think makes him a loser for this video. I think highly of Jarrett Patterson. I actually think the right opportunity, he might beat out Juice Scruggs at the end of the day. Right now, Scruggs, I would give him the slight edge to start at the center position, but Jarrett Patterson is no scrub. He looked great last season, his rookie year out of Notre Dame. He really stepped in and stepped up for this Texans team in the short amount of time that he was the starting center, but the fact that he's not going to be the starting guy, for week 1 if Juice Scruggs is there. I think that is not an indictment on him, but just how good Scruggs has developed this offseason. I still think, like I said, Jarrett Patterson could be somebody that a lot of teams inquire about if they really need a center and want to trade with the Houston Texans. Now, my last loser is the opposing quarterbacks. Every single one of them that the Texans face, because this duo right here of Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson look fantastic so far throughout minicamp. I mean, these two guys both, we know who Danielle Hunter is, and Will Anderson has just looked that much better this offseason. The dude is huge. He's been in the gym. He's been working on his fitness. You're my witness. Ooh-wee. Will Anderson, this dude is absolutely a shot out of a cannon whenever he gets off the line, and I think him on one side, Danielle Hunter on the other, is really going to help this Texans defense thrive in 2024 and be one of the best units by the end of the season. And I talked about this on a show earlier this week, but Texans pass rush last season had these three guys, or the Texans pass rush this season had these three guys. This is their performance last year. 16.5 sacks, 11.5 sacks, 7.5 sacks. These three guys combined, that's going to be the most sacks combined for any trio going into 2024. So the Texans pass rush looks like it's vastly improved from last year, and I can't wait to see the havoc that they wreak on opposing quarterbacks each and every week this season. Now, talking about that, the three guys, best trio heading into 2024 in terms of pass rush, in my opinion. But will the Texans lead the league in sacks in 2024? Let me know yes or no. I think it really hinges on Will Anderson and his development. If he can get up to that, 10, 11, 12 sacks that we know that he can. Let me know down in the comment section, will the Texans lead the league in sacks for 2024? As always, go ahead and give me a follow on Twitter. The first 5 people who share this video and tag me on Twitter at Jeremy Chuggs, I'm giving you a shout out on one of my shows next week. So don't forget, go down and hit that share button, post to X, and then tag me at Jeremy Chuggs so I know you did it. Thank you to everybody who made it to the end of the video. I know y'all are real ones. Until next time, go Texans.